Hey everybody, how's it going? Marcos Villegas for Fight Up TV, being joined here with the newly crowned 140-pound IBF junior welterweight champion, Liam Paro, who defeated handedly Subriel Matias in his home turf in Puerto Rico just a week and a half back. Liam, congrats. You put on just a masterful performance. I was just watching the fight right before we got on here, and there's so many just things I want to touch on in terms of how you fought, the style that you fought in, your volume, your conditioning. But first off, man, how does it feel to be the new champ?
Man, it's still hard to put into words, it's very surreal, and just the magnitude of the fight itself, it actually just sits into, it still hasn't fully set in, going into enemy territory and back against the wall into the lion's den and getting the job done. I think it's couldn't write the script any better.
Yeah, that talk about hostile territory. Like,
Yeah.
From watching it, I could tell, like, yo, dude, like, this is a lit atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. It was very hostile, but we knew what we're going into. We're going into the champ's backyard. Now, we handled it good. We handled it humble, like we always do, respectfully, and I believe we won some Puerto Rican fans over by the way we handled it that week. And yeah, what a unbelievable event. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, it's still hard to put into words. It's still slowly coming together, but yeah, champion of the world, and what better way to take out the guy at that time in the division? So puts me right in the number one spot, I believe.
Yeah, you mentioned it hasn't hit you yet. Why hasn't it hit you yet?
I don't know. I think it's still just slowly sinking in. Something that I've worked my whole life for. Yeah, it's actually here, and I achieved it. And the fact that I made a promise to my late best friend, and I was actually a man of my word. That's the biggest bit that gets me, and that's what we have in our life is our word. And to be a man of mine is very special for me. And yeah, it's a promise I made to my best friend, and yeah, I got it done. So it hits close to home.
Yeah, touch on that a little bit for fans that might be watching this and don't know the backstory of that promise you made.
Yes, it was my best friend that passed away in 2015. Took his own life, unfortunately, and yeah, it was he was good at rugby league, a superstar in rugby league, next superstar up and coming, and that's the tattoo on my ribs is his initials RG with conquer the world. We're going to conquer the worlds in our respected sports, and him being rugby league, me in boxing, and yeah, I still hold that promise very dearly and close to me, and yeah, that's just the initials on my trunks every fight, and yeah, it's just being able to, like I said, being able to be a man of my word and keeping that promise is just yeah, it's such a special feeling, and yeah, it's an unbelievable chapter in the book.
Have you had a chance to speak to his family about all this that's happened?
I do keep in touch with them. I've been off my phone a little bit the past week and a half. A bit of downtime. But when I get back to Australia, I'll go catch up with everyone, and I can't wait to go back and see all the fans and family and loved ones back there. It's been about 12, 13 weeks since I've been back in Australia, so definitely well overdue, and yeah, excited to go home and catch up with everyone.
Yeah, wow, man. That gotta has to hit like on an emotional level with you, making that promise and seeing through with it. How was that night for you after you won the title?
Oh man, it's perfect. You couldn't read the script better. I believe just the way it happened. It was just legendary kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It was definitely cemented my name at the top of the division, and one of the biggest wins abroad for Australian history, sporting history, boxing history in general. So it was huge, and yeah, it's just the beginning. I believe. I'm going to be at the top of this division for a long time now, and I proved that with my performance against Subriel. We had a good game plan, and hats off to my coach Alfie DiCarlo. He's boxing wizard when it comes to the IQ side of things, and I had a job to execute, and I believe I did pretty good.
Yeah, looking at your performance, your conditioning was top notch. Your punch volume, you just kept throwing and throwing and throwing. Your movement was great. Your defense was great. Just overall, like, how would you encapsulate like your performance on that night? Like looking back at it now, and was there anything that you felt you could have done differently, could have done better, or look to do better?
Look, I'm my biggest self-critic, so I've always got things to work on. That's every time I watch. But in overall, I think I fought good. I did what I had to do. I had a game plan. The game plan we had was good. I executed it beautifully, and we did what we had to do to get the job done pretty convincingly, I believe, as well. And I said that in the lead up. Everyone was saying about being in Puerto Rico with the judging and whatnot, but I always said I've got the boxing ability that if it goes 12 rounds, I believe I can make it a big enough margin to get the points, and that's what I did.
Coming into this fight, Subriel Matias had the aura of the boogeyman at 140 pounds, the guy that no one wanted to face, given his punching power. You took that away completely from him in that fight. But in there, there was times where you guys did exchange with each other. I'm curious, how did his power feel in there?
Look, I'm not surprised he got 20 knockouts. It's numbers speak for itself. But look, he's more. We always knew this coming in. He's more of a volume and accumulation puncher. He's not more of a one punch knockout kind of guy. I think he like breaks the will of other fighters. Like sticks to him, and we just didn't let him set his feet to tee off on us. You see in previous fights, people stand in front of him. He doesn't have the best footwork, but once his feet are set, he will just keep wailing away. And going back to our game plan and how we executed it good, we didn't let him set his feet and let him wind up those punches.
Coming into the fight, what did you make of like the aura, the hype behind him being the boogeyman?
Look, that's what it was. No one wanted to fight him. No one would even speak of this guy's name, and I always said I'm a fighter. Fighters fight. I would fight anyone anywhere, and I proved that going into the most hostile place possible, and right back into the lion's den. We knew what we're getting into, but going back to what I was saying, it's just a better chapter in the book when it's all said and done. Like, that's what makes true champions, can perform on any task, anything ahead of them. And yeah, I proved I could do that. And man, at the end of the day, it's just another guy across from me in the ring, Like, yes, they got all this hype around them, but they breathe the same air, bleed the same blood. They ain't no robots, you know what I mean? He can be hurt, so can I. So that's the kind of mentality I have. These guys they're only human as well.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of the way you have to approach it, because so many times people get like too much in their head, I guess. So over the hype of a guy, like, oh, I can't let this guy hit me. I can't let this guy like get close to me. Like, what happens if this and that? And like, I guess you just got to tune that all out, right?
100%. We've got our mind on the job, and that's it. Tunnel vision. We had a good game plan, and that my mind was just to execute that perfectly. And I believe I did so. Did what I had to do, executed the game plan, and boxed his ears off pretty much.
You never want a referee to be a big part of a fight or of a story. Like I said, I just watched the fight again over, and I'm still kind of like, yo, what was this referee doing? What'd you make overall of how he officiated the fight, and then also when he went ahead and took the point away from you, I believe in the 7th round?
Yeah. Look, it was early. I think in the 2nd round, he came to the corner and was pretty aggressive. And I rewatched the fight too, and you see when we break, and he's pushing me the whole time, not touching Matias, letting him get on the front foot. And I don't even think he looked at Matias once. His eyes were just zoned in on me. Just anything he could find, he was going to pull me up for. I didn't even get a proper warning for the back of the head first, and then randomly the 7th round just took the point. So he tried everything he could, but going back to having the game plan, we just have to execute what it is. Like you can't get too caught up in your head. I had a hard opponent across from me in Matias, so my mind was just strictly on the job, and I kind of just had to zone that out and keep it as clean as possible, and obviously be curious of what I'm doing, because any opportunity, he was going to jump on it.
Yeah, like how was he like in the dressing room? Because I don't know if I might have misheard this incorrectly. And correct me if you can, but I think they mentioned on the broadcast that he had spoken to you and told you, hey, you must respect me, told you some instructions, and that's what led to what happened in the rounds.
Yeah, for sure. And it seemed a little bit fishy at the start. He was we hadn't even hopped in the ring yet, and he was laying the rules down pretty firmly and pretty direct. And like I said, in the 2nd round, he's yelling at me. It's only 1 round in. It was a pretty clean round, and yeah, he was just trying to find anything he could to get the job done for their favor. Going back to that, it's every other title fight, there's always been a neutral referee. The fact that there was a Puerto Rican referee with a Puerto Rican fighter, I don't believe is as good. And we found that out the hard way firsthand, that you've got to keep it neutral, because that can change the whole outlook of a fight. I'm lucky enough, that it didn't for us, but yeah.
You as a fighter coming into that and finding that out, like, is there anything that you and your team can do at that point? Can you like protest, like, yo, like, we don't want this ref. He's a hometown ref. Like, we don't want him doing this.
No, really. We got told the referee who it was early, and my coach and my management kind of put it forward like, hey, that's not on. Look at every other IBF title has always been neutral refereeing. So that was a little bit fishy. And then the way he just carried on in there was I believe, yeah, you could tell it was one side. He was trying everything he possibly could to have it in their favor.
I know based on the scorecards, it was pretty clear in your favor. And watching you in the fight, just your body language, you felt like, no, I got this. But because of the ref, because it's in the hometown, when you were going into the 12th and when the 12th finished, did you think in the back of my mind, like, oh man, I just hope they give this to me?
I was winning every round I could, you know, and I finished strong 10, 11, and 12. I come out and I closed the show pretty convincingly. You know what I mean? But I had to do that. Every round we had to win. We're not giving him an inch. And you heard Alfie saying that in the corner, plus with some swear words. He said, don't give this anything. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we're out there winning every second we could. And when you're in the early rounds, you like to give away a few rounds. So we're snatching them. We're snatching everything, you know. We've seen some pretty bad calls in boxing recently. So even when the fight was done, I was comfortable that I got it done convincingly, but it's always in the back of your head. Um, we've seen some stranger things happen. So until I heard the words "NU" and hand was raised, it was millions of emotions going through. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I figured. If it was like a nerve-wracking thing, like before,
oh
like
for
they read the
sure,
scorecards.
for sure. Like I said, I knew I did it comfortably enough and one sided, but man, we're seeing stranger things happen. So
Now, given that, just talk to me a little bit about the game plan, man. Why do you feel like obviously it was right to do what you guys did and fight the way you guys fought, but what gave you the idea to fight the way you guys did, and what'd you see there in Matias?
it was just going back to his footwork. You know, he doesn't have the best footwork. Um, and all these fights, like I said before, he has to set his feet to then get to work. So it's just not letting him set. So we're constantly moving. But not only that, it was responding with everything. When he punched me, it was answering back, and I think that kind of played on his mind a little bit too. I think when he realized he wasn't going to break me, that's when it definitely turned. And like I said, I come home very strong. I had him more tired than me. So yeah, it was just a lot of it was not letting him set. Don't be a standing target for him. You know, don't let them feet set, because once that happens, he's just gonna he'll keep throwing. So yeah, it's not letting him set was the main thing. And but yeah, we boxed on the inside. We fought. It was good. We mixed it up.
Yeah, no, you showed a lot of facets to your game as well. You had good offense, good footwork, good defense as well. When you were growing up and still in your formative stages as a boxer and developing your style, like what other southpaws did you look at to kind of fit and hey, I like this from here, I like this from there, and put it into one?
It's a bit like that. You know what I mean? We watch fighters. You know, I like to watch a Pacquiao, Camacho, Pernell Whitaker. I don't fight anything like that, but you find little things, like you said, pick little things here and there, and but then at the same time, you have your own unique style. So little things that work for us. We just yeah, pretty much just being in the gym, being a student of the game, and just finding out what works great for us and stuff like that. But I'm always learning new things, and I'm always absorbing things to keep adding onto my artillery. So I'm never going to stop learning, and yeah, I'm going to keep getting better, but not really one specific southpaw. A bit of everyone.
Yeah, I think they even mentioned it on the broadcast. I think it was Sergio Mora that said like, "Hey, you know, you're doing some like Sergio Martinez type things." And when I was
Yeah,
looking at the fight, I did notice like a few things there, and I was kind of wondering like, "Hey, did you ever look at some of the things that Sergio did
yeah.
in his career
I've
and kind
watched
of
a fair
incorporate
few of
it?"
his fights. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's a tremendous fighter, and yeah, it's just like I said, like you said, just picking up little bits that work for us, and that's where we practice them in the gym. If they're not going to work, well, leave it there. You know.
So things now get pretty interesting. You have a lively division at 140 pounds. What are the plans? What are the goals, Liam?
Look, I had that feeling of winning the belt was unbelievable. So there's three more out there. I want to feel that again three more times. So I think it makes sense. I think we go after the belts, after the champions, and the road to unifying. I believe. Um, Haney was on my hit list at the first, but now he's relinquished his title. So it doesn't really matter. We just sit down with the team and what makes sense. And I've been on the road. I've been a road warrior for ages now. So now I want to bring the big fights to Australia. I've got the jewels. So invite anyone to come over and have a crack over there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. If you're going to continue being the road warrior and going, or finally kind of like, hey, I'm the man now. Come to me. Come to Australia.
100%. I think I've proved it enough. The Aussie fans, they deserve the big fights. So I'm a proud Aussie, and if we can bring them there, why not?
Now, how would you rank now the title list in your opinion in terms of in comparison to you and your style, the most challenging?
Um, Look, they're all different. They're so different. Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm confident I can beat every guy. I just took out the guy that no one wanted. So I'm confident I can beat them all. And obviously, it's going to be different approaches, different game plans. But look, that's a hard one. I'll leave it up in the air. Everyone respectfully a champion in their own way and got their own strengths. But yeah, maybe Tio. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
they can
was
all get it
thinking. I was thinking Teofimo would be a pretty exciting fight for
for
you,
sure.
to be honest.
For sure. I'm ready.
What do you make of Teofimo Lopez, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, and obviously Barroso, the other guys in your division in terms of if you were to list them 1, 2, 3, 4 outside of you, how would you rank
Yeah.
them?
Look, there's heaps of fighters here. Like you said, the 140-pound division is huge. Like I said, I'd go number one, number two, maybe Lopez, Pitbull, then Puello with the champions. But then, man, there's just endless. There's endless amounts. I could go on all day. But yeah, there's a fair few up and coming too. So yeah, it's packed. There's some big fights to be made, and I'm just happy I'm at the top of the division now to clean them all out, I believe.
Yeah, man. How long have you been a pro for now?
2016, so this would be what, my ninth year, going into my ninth year, eighth or ninth year. So a few now, getting a bit seasoned, I guess.
Yeah, I'm seeing here you started your career, in March of 2016.
Yeah.
Finally getting this opportunity last week and a half. What does it mean to you, man? I
Oh,
would imagine you struggled, you had to do a lot, and it's doesn't make it any easier being a pro from Australia.
yeah.
Having to come over here. Like, what does this all mean to you?
It's life changing. You know what I mean? That 36 minutes changed my life forever. For my family, my loved ones. We're set up a lot more now, and it's just like living a childhood dream. That when I was 13 years old, when I started boxing, I told my mum I was going to be world champion. Everything I do, I always aim for the top. And like I said, it's still pretty surreal. It's still sinking in that I done it the way I did. It's going to go down in history forever. And man, it's motivating. It's just a glimpse of where I want to be and where I knew I could be. And man, I believe the journey only just properly starts now. So I reckon it's going to get super exciting.
Did you come from like a boxing family, or how did you stumble into boxing?
It was just in the rugby league off seasons. Rugby league's massive over in Australia, and it was off season. And my mate across the road, Tyson Best, he was a professional too. But he was doing his hand wraps. I was curious, seeing what he was doing. Went along, and from that day on, I fell in love with boxing. I think just the competitiveness and yeah, it's on a level of its own. Anyone that's jumped in the ring or trained boxing that will understand that there's nothing that can compare. It's the ultimate test, and so life's about testing yourself. And yeah, I just fell in love with the competitiveness of the sport, and yeah, haven't looked back.
So you're like a good kid, never would get into street fights, wouldn't get in trouble, and you
Oh, a little
just
bit. I was grew up very humble. We grew up in the working class, so I grew up with respect. Um, but yeah, I was a little bit of a rat bag. But hey, look, boxing definitely did save my life for sure. People tell me that all the time. My coaches, especially, he's known me since a young kid, and I honestly don't know where I'd be. I don't even want to think about where I'd be without boxing. So I owe my life to it. It's given me a beautiful life to see the world, get to give my family better things, and yeah, it's very humbling now to be here and yeah, being able to live what I dreamt about. Just putting it into reality. It's hard to put into words.
mm. The scene in Australia in terms of boxing has grown so much over the last 2 to 3 years. Seeing the emergence of fighters like yourself and others coming from your country, as opposed to like maybe 10, 15 years ago, we weren't seeing that as much. What do you
Yeah.
think has changed? What do you think is different now that we are seeing a lot more Australian stars not only have more success, but are actually winning titles on the elite
Yeah.
level?
Look, we've always had a strong boxing country. I think we're just our skill sets catching up now too. Not taking anything away from any champions that are beautiful, like unbelievable champions back in the day, but Aussies were always just known as tough. Yes, we are tough, but now we're bringing more to the table. We're bringing the skills and the class and the swagger with it. So I believe boxing is just booming in Australia too. There's a lot more people doing it, and man, we've got heaps. Like you said, we've got so many champions, and we've got a big wave of Aussies coming over, and it's yeah, it's unreal. It's really in a good spot, and it's good to be a part of that. And I think it's just going to keep booming. You know, like wins like what I had on Saturday night, and bringing big fights to Australia will keep it booming in the country, and we definitely need that because it's hard to compete against the cricket and the rugby league over there, but boxing's coming strong.
Mm. Because you mentioned him a little bit earlier, Devin Haney being the champion in recess, and now your plans have changed. But what do you make of the situation that happened with him and Ryan Garcia and the fallout after all that?
Man, it's pretty much like a circus. You know, it's not doing boxing any favors, I believe. But it is what it is. You know, we don't get too invested into it. It's not our business. We got our own path, and I hope when I cross paths with both of them guys in the near future. You know, obviously Garcia's out and Haney's stepping away for a little bit too. So whenever they're ready, I'm ready to get it on. But until then, I'm just going to keep defending my belt, staying in my lane, and yeah, making my own path and own legacy.
Yeah, no, those are definitely two massive fights for you in the future. On a ending note for you, Liam, if you could map out the next year for you, what fights against who would that look like, and how would you end the year?
Look, we definitely want to have a title defense by the end of the year. You know, as soon as I get back to Australia, I'm going to really press on the team, and yeah, we'll get some clarity of which way we're going to head. But look, at this point, like I said, I haven't spoke with the team, but anyone with the belt, I want to go on the road to unifying now. I believe that makes the most sense in the division, and there's big fights there to be made. So yeah, my team will make a good decision and the right idea, the right decision. But yeah, we'll just go home and bounce some ideas and see where everyone's at. But honestly, I've always said I'll fight anyone. Fighters fight, and I keep proving that. So I ain't gonna step away from that. But yeah, anyone can get it if it makes sense.
This is just a quick one, just based on that. If you do achieve undisputed, you know, because Haney was the champion in recess, would there be a part of you that would think, hey, you know what? I can't call myself this until I fight Devin and take that title from him because he never lost it?
No, if I win all the belts, he can come have a crack, and then we'll settle it legit like that, you know. But it's a long road ahead, so I'm just gonna keep grinding, keep ticking over, keep getting better in the gym, and whenever that day comes, I believe it will happen in the near future. I'll be ready, and I'll keep shocking the world and proving critics wrong.
All right, that is Liam Paro, the new IBF junior welterweight champion. Liam, thank you for your time. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you for having me. Take care. Thank you.